Dean Martin, one of the greatest icons of American entertainment, was known for his mesmerizing voice and elegant style, once standing at the peak of his career with the title King of Cool. But behind the halo, his life ended in loneliness and tragedy. What made a legend like Dean Martin suffer such a cruel fate? Let's explore his ups and downs story in this video, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss other interesting stories. Early life and career. Dean Martin, born Dino Paul Crocetti, was born on June 7, 1970 in Steubenville, Ohio, to Italian immigrants. His father, Gaetano Alfonso Crocetti, was a barber, and his mother, Angela Barra, was a housewife. Steubenville was a small industrial town where the Italian immigrant community often had to work hard to make a living. The Martin family was no exception, living in tight economic conditions. Dino's childhood was marked by poverty and difficulties in adjusting to American society. He was teased by his peers for his poor English and taught himself by watching movies. Dino dropped out of school in the 10th grade, feeling that the school environment was not suitable, and decided to seek other ways to make a living. Dean Martin tried many different jobs in his youth. He worked as a steel mill worker and bartender, and even became a semi-professional boxer. Nicknamed Kid Crochet, Martin entered illegal boxing matches, but quickly realized that this was not a long-term path. He also tried his hand at bootlegging during the Prohibition era in the United States. In addition to his manual labor, Dean Martin always had a passion for music. He began his singing career in small bars and nightclubs, often performing at parties and entertainment shows in his hometown. His warm voice, confident demeanor, and charming appearance quickly attracted the attention of audiences. 1946 was an important year in Dean Martin's career when he met Jerry Lewis, a promising young comedian. The two quickly formed a famous comedy duo, combining Martin's smooth singing voice with Lewis's spontaneous, hilarious acting. They began performing at popular nightclubs and quickly became a phenomenon, attracting the attention of Hollywood. The Martin-Lewis duo starred in a series of hit comedies from 1949 to 1956, including notable works such as My Friend Irma, 1949, and Scared Stiff, 1953. They also appeared on many popular television shows, bringing fame and wealth to both. This partnership was not only a great stepping stone for Dean Martin's career, but also left a strong mark in the history of American entertainment. However, behind the spotlight, Dean Martin always felt overshadowed by Lewis's vibrant personality. This led to cracks in the relationship between the two, and the couple eventually broke up in 1956. But it was this breakup that opened a new chapter in Dean Martin's legendary solo career. Career ascension. After ending his 10-year partnership with Jerry Lewis in 1956, Dean Martin faced a lot of skepticism from audiences and critics. They thought that he would hardly succeed alone, because during his time working with Lewis, Martin's image was often overshadowed by his co-star's lively and humorous personality. However, Dean Martin quickly proved his ability not only as a talented singer, but also as a comprehensive entertainer. With his warm, smooth voice and charming performance style, Dean Martin continued to conquer audiences through famous songs. One of the songs associated with his name is That's Amore, an Italian-influenced love song released in 1953 during his collaboration with Lewis. Later, in his solo career, Martin continued to reap great success with the song Everybody Loves Somebody, 1964. The song quickly climbed to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, surpassing the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night, and became one of his most iconic songs. Martin not only focused on love songs, but also expanded his musical range from jazz and pop to swing. He released a series of successful albums such as Dream with Dean and Dino Italian Love Songs, which made his name spread worldwide. Dean Martin is famous for his natural performance style, mixing music and humor. He often uses witty jokes to interact with the audience, creating a close and comfortable space during his performances. His relaxed demeanor, charming appearance, and unique humor made him one of the most beloved artists during Hollywood's golden age. Besides music, Dean Martin also made a strong impression as an actor. He starred in many famous films, including Rio Bravo 1915, where he acted with John Wayne. His role as the Dude, an alcoholic but passionate deputy sheriff, was highly appreciated and helped him affirm his position as a talented actor. Martin also made his mark in the spy action genre with the Matt Helm series, typically The Silencers. 6. This series was humorous in style, reflecting both the image of a charming spy and his diverse entertainment ability. An indispensable part of Dean Martin's flourishing career was his role as a member of the Rat Pack, which included big names such as Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, and Peter Lawford. The group became famous for their shows in Las Vegas, where they became synonymous with glitz, glamour, and high-class entertainment in the 1960s. The Rat Pack's shows were not only musical and comedy acts, but also epitomized the high-class lifestyle and laid-back spirit. Dean Martin, with his unique sense of humor and great singing ability, was always the highlight of the group's performances. In 1965, Dean Martin launched his television show, The Dean Martin Show, a variety show that aired on NBC from 1965 to 1974. The show quickly attracted a large audience, thanks to its combination of music, comedy, and Martin's laid-back hosting style. The Dean Martin Show featured duets with big stars, humorous skits, and improvisation in each episode. The show's success not only cemented his reputation, but also paved the way for other television series, such as Dean Martin's Celebrity Roast, where he invited celebrities to participate and hilariously teased them. Dean Martin, the man admired by the world for his warm voice and elegant style, had a fractured family life. 3 marriages, 8 children, and complicated relationships have left a deep mark on his life. Is it possible that behind the halo of a star, there are hidden corners that few people understand? Let's explore this emotional journey to better understand the real Dean Martin. A family of glamorous but cracked. Dean Martin married 3 times in his life, experiencing ups and downs in his married life. His first marriage was to Elizabeth Ann MacDonald in 1941. They had 4 children: Craig, Claudia, Gail, and Deanna. However, family life was not as peaceful as it seemed. The pressure of work and the busyness of his career made it difficult for Dean Martin to spend much time with his wife and children. The couple divorced in 1949, with the reasons often mentioned being the distance in lifestyle and irreconcilable conflicts. In 1949, just a few weeks after the divorce, Dean Martin married Jean Bieger, an attractive young model. This is considered the most prominent marriage of his life. Dean and Jean had 3 children together: Dean Paul, Richie, and Gina. Jean was not only his life partner, but also the person who often appeared with him at major events. However, by 1973, the marriage had also broken down. Some sources have suggested that his bohemian lifestyle, workaholism, and a rift in their relationship were the reasons for the split. Dean Martin's last marriage was to Catherine Horn, a non-celebrity woman. They married in 1973, but the marriage lasted only 3 years and ended in divorce in 1976. Despite having 8 children from 3 marriages, Dean Martin was often criticized for his aloof lifestyle and lack of time with his family. This was partly due to his busy career in the entertainment industry, which meant he was rarely present for important moments with his children. He was often only present for big occasions or family events, but the lack of daily involvement left a large gap in the father-son relationship. His most famous child is Dean Paul Martin, the son from his second marriage to Jean. Dean Paul was a talented singer, actor, and pilot. However, tragedy struck when Dean Paul died in a plane crash in 1987, at the age of 35. Dean Paul's death was a huge shock to Dean Martin and is believed to have caused him to become more withdrawn and depressed in his later years. Another son, Richie Martin, also pursued music and regularly performed his father's songs. Richie passed away in 2016 at the age of 62, leaving his family and fans in mourning. Dean Martin was known for his image as a gentleman, always cheerful and confident in public, but in his private life, he was quite private. His children once shared that, although they loved their father, they often felt that he was difficult to approach and kept his distance. This may have stemmed from his quiet personality and free lifestyle. However, some relatives also said that Dean Martin, despite his busy schedule, still tried to keep in touch with his family in his way. He often sent special gifts or called to check on his children when he could not be with them. Despite being a big star with a successful career, Dean Martin's family life was not a fairy tale. Cracks in his marriage and an imperfect father-son relationship created a complicated picture of his life. This also reflected the fact that, behind the halo of fame, Dean Martin, like anyone else, also faced difficulties and hurts in his personal life. The inner battle. Dean Martin is often known to the audience for his charismatic style and the glass of wine he always has in his hand when performing. This has become part of his trademark in television shows and performances in Las Vegas. However, behind that image is an inner battle that few people know about. Many people think that the glass of wine is just a prop, a part of the performance art to increase his appeal and match his image as a party king. But in fact, Martin has a serious problem with alcohol abuse. The glamorous life and pressure from the spotlight have made him turn to alcohol as a way to relieve stress. The habit of uncontrolled drinking not only affects his spirit, but also has serious consequences for his physical health. According to sources, he has faced problems such as chronic fatigue, liver damage, and decreased resistance. In his later years, Dean Martin often had difficulty maintaining his stage presence and gradually withdrew from performing. Alcohol abuse was also a manifestation of the psychological stress that Martin suffered. Off the stage, he was a vulnerable person, struggling with loneliness and high expectations from the public. One of the biggest shocks in Dean Martin's life was the death of his son, Dean Paul Martin. In 1987, Dean Paul was the eldest son of Martin's second marriage to Jean Bieger. Born in 1951, Dean Paul was a multi-talented artist, inheriting his father's charisma and talent. But instead of entering the entertainment world completely, he chose a different path by becoming a pilot for the United States Air Force. Tragic story. On March 21, 1987, Dean Paul, while conducting a routine training session, was piloting an F-4 Phantom II fighter jet. However, the plane unfortunately crashed in the mountains of San Bernardino, California, killing Dean Paul and his teammate at the scene. Dean Paul passed away at the age of 35, leaving his family with endless pain. Dean Paul's death was the biggest blow to Dean Martin, who was always proud of his son. Those close to him said that Martin fell into a deep depression after this tragedy. He almost stopped participating in performing activities and limited communication with people. This was considered a turning point in Martin's life, causing him to lose his vitality and passion for art and sink deeper into alcohol to find comfort. After this loss, Dean Martin became more withdrawn than ever. He gradually refused performance invitations and rarely appeared in public. His apartment in Beverly Hills became his refuge, where he lived his lonely days, far from the spotlight that had made his name. Close friends, such as Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., tried many times to pull him out of this state, but were unsuccessful. Martin seemed to have no desire to continue his career or open up to anyone. Prolonged alcohol abuse, combined with old age and the pain of losing his child, caused his health to decline rapidly. Liver-related diseases and other physical problems became more serious, forcing him to completely retire and live in solitude. Dean Martin, who always shined on stage, eventually fell into the darkness of his own life. Personal challenges and family tragedies not only took away his vitality, but also left a big void in the hearts of his fans. However, the legacy he left behind is still a testament to the talent and dedication of a timeless star. Declining health. In the 1990s, Dean Martin's health began to decline, reflecting in part the unhealthy lifestyle he had maintained throughout his life. He was a heavy smoker, a common habit in his era, especially among entertainers. Coupled with his long-term alcohol abuse, Dean Martin's health suffered significantly. In the early 1990s, Dean Martin was diagnosed with lung cancer. This was a direct result of decades of uncontrolled smoking. The disease progressed rapidly, impairing his ability to breathe and causing him to suffer in pain in his later years. In addition to lung cancer, Martin also suffered from liver and heart problems, which were also a result of his long-term alcohol abuse. These illnesses left him frequently tired, weak, and limited in his social activities. Increasing isolation. In his later years, Dean Martin became increasingly withdrawn from personal relationships. He lived in isolation, avoiding contact with both close friends and family. Although he had been very close to his friends in the Rat Pack, such as Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., Martin gradually distanced himself from them. His failing health and the pain of personal loss, especially the death of his son, left him with little desire to socialize or maintain social relationships. He remained mostly confined to his Beverly Hills apartment, appearing in public only on rare occasions. The parties and performances that had once been his greatest joys no longer had any meaning. He was often seen alone, sitting quietly in familiar restaurants, looking pensive and unwilling to be disturbed. Along with his physical decline, Dean Martin also faced a mental decline. Family tragedy and failing health pushed him into a deep depression. Although he was encouraged to seek aggressive treatment for his lung cancer, Dean Martin did not show any interest. Perhaps he was tired of the battle both physically and mentally and did not want to prolong his suffering. Martin had been a man who lived for art and performance. However, in his later years, he no longer showed interest or motivation to return to the stage. This was not only due to his health, but also because his spirit was exhausted after so many ups and downs. The last days and loneliness. Dean Martin's final years were a series of lonely and quiet days. After a life full of brilliance, he gradually withdrew from the public eye, no longer wanting to appear in front of crowds or participate in events. Martin's relationship with his close friends in the Rat Pack, especially Frank Sinatra, had been an indispensable part of his life. However, after the deaths of Sammy Davis Jr. in 1990 and then Frank Sinatra in 1998, Martin increasingly withdrew from social relationships. These losses, combined with his declining health, made him feel that he no longer belonged to the world of the present. When invited to attend memorial services or events honoring his achievements, Dean Martin often declined. He did not want to face the spotlight or the pity of those who loved him. Martin often spent time rewatching old TV shows or listening to the music that made him famous. Memories of his glory days seemed to be the only source of comfort in his lonely days. Although his health did not allow him to participate in outdoor activities, Martin maintained a few small habits, such as dining at his favorite restaurant, La Familia. Those who knew him recalled that Martin often sat quietly alone, thoughtful and quiet. On December 25, 1995, right on Christmas Day, Dean Martin breathed his last breath at his home in Beverly Hills, California. The official cause was determined to be respiratory failure, a complication from lung cancer that had plagued him for many years. The day of his death coincided with Christmas, a holiday he had loved as a young man. For many fans, his passing on this day was symbolic, as if he had chosen to leave this world in a moment filled with meaning and emotion. In contrast to the glamour that surrounded his career, Dean Martin's funeral was held privately and simply attended only by family and a few close friends. Legacy and influence. Dean Martin was not only a star in his time, but his hits still have a strong appeal today. Songs like That's Amore, Everybody Loves Somebody, and Memories Are Made of This not only demonstrated the sophistication and charm of his music, but also became immortal icons in the treasure trove of American classical music. These melodies have left a deep impression on the minds of fans, from generation to generation. The rustic and simple lyrics, combined with Martin's warm, captivating voice, helped him conquer the hearts of millions. In particular, That's Amore, with its romantic and cheerful images, is always broadcast during festivals, becoming an indispensable part of American popular culture. Dean Martin is not only a musical icon, but also an ideal model of elegance and humor. He was known for his unique performance style, combining a sweet voice, handsome looks, and a natural sense of humor. It was this combination that made Dean Martin a star that everyone admired, not only in music, but also in the performing arts. He was the embodiment of confidence and charisma and always knew how to make the audience laugh. Martin's way of presenting himself on stage, both graceful and approachable, was a standard that many later artists aspired to achieve. This is evident when later artists such as Michael Bublé, Harry Connick Jr., and other famous jazz artists all admitted that they were deeply influenced by Dean Martin. Bublé, with his gentle, emotional singing style and refined performances, always considered Martin a spiritual mentor. Harry Connick Jr., also known for his harmony between jazz music and humor in performance, often spoke about how Martin influenced his style. Although Dean Martin has long since passed from this world, his legacy lives on in the hearts of audiences and the entertainment industry. He has been inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame, an honor that only outstanding and influential artists can receive. This is a testament to his great career and great contributions to the entertainment industry. Dean Martin was more than just a stage star. He was a cultural icon. His films, television shows, and Las Vegas shows marked a golden age in American entertainment. Even generations of artists continue to exploit and draw inspiration from what Dean Martin built. With his combination of music, comedy, and personality, Dean Martin has become a role model for many artists and will forever be an important part of American cultural history. Dean Martin has left a lasting mark on music and the entertainment industry. What is your favorite hit of his? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you, and see you in the next videos.